So, hello and welcome back to my channel. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Saskia and I am about to go into my second year of psychology at the University of Southampton. So I made a video kind of relatively similar to this in July last year. I think it was my second ever video and it did quite well. And that seems to be because there is no information about disabled students allowance anywhere. I made a video like this in July last year and I spoke about the application process, like the timeline, and then a haul of basically everything I got. And I was going to film like an update on disabled students allowance, but there's just nothing to update you on. So I was looking through my documents the other day and I found my report, and I've read my report, but like I haven't read my report, and I just thought it was really interesting. So I am basically going to talk you through all of the sections that they will assess you on in disabled student allowance, and then everything I got for each section. So like in my haul I spoke through everything I got, but I didn't really give a reason. But like I didn't really give a reason as to why I got certain things, because quite frankly I had no idea. It had just all been handed to me and I was like, right, free stuff, I appreciate this. But yeah, I went through my report. I have my report on my phone and I'm basically going to go through all the sections and what they will assess you on, and then what I got for each section. So your report is split into A, B, C and D. Very first thing in A is your background information. So yeah, your background information will be your disability information. So the very first thing it will say is diagnosis, blank, 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 whatever it is, and it will talk about the evidence you gave them. So the evidence you give them just has to be it can be from a GP, from a specialist. Like mine was all from CAMS, so mine basically says, Saskia produced a variety of letters from blank, blank. All of the evidence advises that Saskia has blank, blank, blank. So like, even if your documents don't explicitly give a diagnosis, like I don't think my documents explicitly said Saskia has this and this and this, it's relatively obvious to infer. Like you don't need a piece of paper that says specifically you have this. It just needs to indicate that you have something that will affect your education. So your background information will be about your disability and then any details of previous assessments. So I am in second year. I haven't had to have another assessment because all of my information is pretty much the same. So if I had another assessment, that would go in A, and then your course details, it will literally just say like, oh, I'm studying psychology, bachelor's of science, Saskia's course is this, here, this is how the course is delivered. And then they basically do just copy and paste from your university website with what support they can give for a disability. And that's pretty much A. A is relatively useless, it's just background information. So then section B is the biggest section and the bit I'm probably going to spend the most time talking about, and that is the effects of your disability. So this is basically what they will have read from your letters and what they have got from your assessment. So the letters that you send them, the information that you send them is mostly just for section A, but it will give them background to know like, oh, you have a learning disability, so I should focus on that, or you have like mental health problems, so I should focus on that, or physical health. Like it kind of gives them an idea as to where to focus on, essentially, like what area your needs will be in. So the effects of your disability will be split into 9 sections. So we have research and reading, writing and reviewing work, note-taking, time management and organising work, access to technology, practical sessions and trips, like field trips, exams and assessments, social interactions and travel. So there will be 9 sections that they will assess you on. When you're having your assessment, they don't tell you like, oh, now we're going to look at your B1-2, like your B, like they don't read out the code and say, right, now we're going to look at B2-2. They just ask you questions. It's not like that kind of thing. And basically they'll split all of these sections into key impacts and then recommended strategies. So your key impacts, let's start. So I've got research and reading. So my key impacts are basically, Saskia has reported that research is, so it basically said like what I've reported about research. Saskia's told me she gets overwhelmed, she finds the library unsettling, she finds it challenging to find motivation, those kinds of things. and then it will be recommended strategies. So, for research and reading, my recommended strategies were: all university students have access to ebooks, not really a recommended strategy, but they kind of write down anything that the university will already provide for you. And then Saskia may find the use of text-to-speech software quite useful when she is finding it difficult to read. I don't know if I ever said I found it difficult to read, like I can read quite well, but I guess, I don't know, when I'm anxious I don't really want to read. So yeah, Saskia, I recommend that Saskia is provided with a personal copy of Claro Read Pro. This is not available through the university. So that was my first thing. So that was for difficulty reading. So yeah, Claro Read will allow scanning of hard copy articles onto PDFs. I recommend that Saskia uses this function, and therefore she will need a multifunctional printer scanner. So I needed the scanner to get physical texts online. I love my printer, I really do. My printer is probably my favourite thing that I got from DSA. So yeah, the printer is from Research and Reading. And then Saskia can find it difficult to find the motivation to get up and get dressed, although appreciates that her academic work will still be completed, and thus I recommend that Saskia is provided with an easy desk. So this is a desk that you use in bed. Haven't used it, it really stressed me out. It just, like, I probably should use it because I feel like working in bed would be quite nice because my back really hurts all the time. It's not in my report because it's not really that much of, I was gonna say it's not really that much of an issue, but I'm in crippling pain pretty much all the time. So, but because it wasn't like reported, I only sent like mental health evidence stuff. So it's not technically for back pain, but like would probably be a good idea because the chair that I have at uni is, you can't see it, but it's like a really, really bad one and it hurts my back. So yeah. Then I got general allowance. So this was for research and reading as well. A printing allowance is recommended to cover any additional costs that Saskia will incur over and above that of her peers, as she finds it difficult to use university provided printers. I really do. The printers at sixth form, I hated them. They just made me stressed. So the allowance I was originally given with my printer 3 sets of ink cartridges and then an allowance of £150 for the academic year of ink. I just used all of that. I was like, if I'm going to be provided with it, I just bulk ordered. Like what my camera is currently sat on is an Amazon box filled with £100 of ink. I've changed the ink in my printer once, but if I've got the money and the allowance, I might as well get the stuff. So that was what I had for research and reading. So I had Claro Read Pro, printer allowance, and the Easy Desk. So then we have writing and reviewing academic work. I don't really know what my key impacts bit really says. It doesn't really say anything, it just kind of seems a bit waffly. But it basically just says that I'm quite good at this. Like I'm quite okay with that. But then, so my recommended strategy for that was then also Claro Read, but Claro Capture, which I don't really understand how it works. Claro Capture, collecting research information, organising and referencing her work. Don't like it. Haven't used it, but don't like the idea of it. I like planning my work in my way. I'm not going to use Claro Capture. And then speech to text. So I got Dragon Professional. Yeah, so this is basically, you talk into your microphone and it will type it for you, which I haven't used yet because I don't really know how to use it. But yeah, I also, because it's right here, I'll show you. I then got a headset for this because otherwise I'm using these low quality earphones from Amazon that was like 5 of them for a tenner and they're rubbish. So yeah, I got provided with a headset so I could use the Dragon Professional for text-to-speech. Oh, and I then got magic whiteboards. I haven't used these yet, but I do really want to. So my magic whiteboards are literally under my desk, but they're basically like, it's like paper that you static stick to your wall. I haven't used them, but I am going to use them this year because I want to. Not necessarily because they'll be useful, but because I enjoy the idea. Did I even bring my pens? They didn't provide me with pens, so I had to get pens for this, but yeah. And then Grammarly is a free software that I can use with proofreading. No, Grammarly has let me down. I've got feedback in my essays that's basically been like, are you American? And I'm like, bloody American Grammarly. Like, I was doing research on colour, I think, and I spelt it with an O every time. So that was really good. I still got a 78, but like maybe I could have got higher if I'd learned how to spell in English. And then I got... Oh, and then I was recommended Mendeley and Zotero, which are referencing softwares. Not going to touch them, don't like them, not interested. I'm happy with my referencing, but they weren't things that were provided to me. That's just things that I think you can get for free, but they were recommended strategies. So we then have note-taking in seminars and lectures. I've never had a lecture or seminar in person, so I've not really had to take notes or anything. But basically, this was basically like Saskia's attendance is poor. Like my attendance in second year of sixth form was 60%, 50%. My attendance in year 11 was like, I don't even think you could round it up to 1%. So my attendance was bad because I just couldn't go. So I think my recommended strategies were things like that the lecturers would send me all the recordings as soon as they'd finished the lecture. I then also had Sonosent audio note taker. I don't know what this means. Saskia, it would allow me to type and record simultaneously. I don't know what that means, but I got an audio note taker, if anyone knows what Sonosent is. Oh, I then got my microphone, which I really actually like. I've used it twice. I've used it to put a voiceover on a YouTube video and do a psychology study because my microphone stopped working. And I got a Samsung Go mic to basically record lectures that I go to. If they don't record it very well, I can basically plug in my microphone and record the lecture for myself. So yeah, that was... What was that? So that was writing and reviewing work. So I got recommended Sonosent Note Taker, Samsung Go mic, and noise cancelling headphones that I didn't use. So, key impacts, I'm good at time management, but when I'm slightly depressioned, I can't concentrate. I've never needed extended deadlines, but apparently that's already in place. I think that was actually true. I did get an extended deadline for some things in sixth form, but I was literally always like 2 months ahead of deadline, so I didn't need them because I have crippling anxiety. Even if I'm a little bit depressed, I'm too anxious to not do the work, so I'll just hate myself, cry, and do the work. So, recommended strategies I got, this was just EasyDesk and Claro Read will help me to keep on top of research, and then the magic whiteboards, which have already been spoken about. Brain in Hand, I did actually like Brain in Hand. It's an app designed to help people with extremely high anxiety and autistic spectrum disorder to improve their independence. This was actually kind of useful. I basically used it to write down like social scripts. So I had like a script for meeting new people, which I never used because of COVID, but it was actually kind of useful. And I could also like tap in like red, amber, green. Like if I tapped 3 ambers in a row or something, they could text me or call me or call my emergency contacts to help me out. So I did actually really like Brain in Hand. I would say I was in a good enough place that I didn't really need to use it, but if I was struggling, Brain in Hand would have been great. Brain in Hand was worth like 600 quid as well. I happened to talk through the money at the end, but that's an expensive app. So for managing time and organising work, they basically re-mentioned the EasyDesk, Claro Read and Magic Whiteboards, and then talked about Brain in Hand. So then we have access to use of technology. So this was basically the actual kind of tech part of it, like the laptop, that kind of thing. So, you know, key impact was basically just, I have a laptop, but it's rubbish. My laptop was so old. My laptop was like one of those tiny ones. It was a Lenovo 100S, and I do love her, but she was poor. Like, when I switched from that one to my new one, I was like, oh my god, is this what laptops are supposed to be like? So yeah. And then it also says, Saskia's high anxieties will affect her ability to concentrate in busy or noisy environments like libraries. Libraries do stress me out. I like the library, but it does stress me out. So this was also like, they then recommended the printer as well for this section, so I didn't have to go to the university printers, which I am very grateful for because I don't want to go to the university printers. It stresses me out. So recommended strategies, I will get a laptop. It's just called a classic laptop. It was a Lenovo, I mean, it's right here. A Lenovo V15 IIL, model name 82C5. It's this laptop. I love my laptop. She's great. She does the job. She's beautiful. And then I needed a bag to transport it. I didn't really need a bag, but they gave the bag for free. The bag cost like 10p for the supplier or something like that. So I did pay £200 for the laptop, like a £200 contribution, but it is worth like £800 or something, and my old laptop was worth like 100. But I did then get the money back from the university. So if you do pay towards your laptop, you can basically get reimbursed if you have low income. So I'm on maximum student loan, so I have low income family. So I basically just emailed my enabling services, like my disability support at the university, and I was like, oh, do you reimburse the £200 for low income families? And they're like, yes. So I just sent them the receipt for the laptop, like the receipt for the bank transfer to my supplier, and they sent me £200 back. So my laptop was entirely free. So everything I got from DSA was free. Laptop paid £200 contribution, but got the £200 back. I then got 3-year insurance for my laptop and printer. So anything that goes wrong with my printer or laptop, I have like an engineer I can contact, and I have like an insurance policy that they'll basically, like, I'll send it off and they'll fix it. And then they also did talk about the printer again. And they also recommended something I didn't use. They did recommend 8 hours of assistive technology IT training, so that I could get everything demonstrated to me, but that would not have been for me. First of all, online, can't cope with that. Second of all, if it's in person, couldn't cope with that even more. But having someone like talk me through things, I know how to technology-ish, but like I don't want someone to tell me how to do it. So I never used that. So yeah, for access to and use of technology, I got the laptop. I think I got a backpack for my laptop. I never used it. I got insurance. I got Microsoft Office, but that's from the uni, so it wasn't really from DSA, but it was recommended. I got my printer, and I was technically given allowance to 8 hours of assistive technology training, but I didn't use this. So we then have practical sessions, placements, field trips, and additional services. Key impacts was basically nothing. This was pretty much an irrelevant section because I don't do field trips with my course. I don't do practical elements really. So the recommended strategy was just Saskia has been advised to contact her disability advisor to ensure that she has all the support she needs for this aspect of the course. If it happened, I would contact someone, but it's not going to happen, so nothing there. Then we have examinations and timed assessments. So I have always been in a separate room. Well, I've been in a separate room for exams since year 11, so I sat my GCSEs in it was the mentally ill kids room. They had like the learning disability room and then the mentally ill kids room. So I was in the mentally ill kids room. And then sixth form, I did my exams in a separate room with just me. So there was no one else other than like my invigilator, and it was a really nice old lady, so I was quite happy there. So for university, the DSA didn't recommend this to me, but they told me to tell my disability advisor that I want it again, essentially. So when I got to uni, contacted my disability advisor, contacted the enabling services, and I was like, hi, I've had my separate room for exams, can I have it again? So they basically sorted that out for me. The DSA had nothing to do with that bit. So yeah, for examinations and timed assessments, DSA didn't do anything, like I didn't get anything from DSA for that. So then we have social interaction and communications. Oh, this was a good section. Like I didn't really get any help from this, but it was basically just like, Saskia struggles to read social, emotional and environmental cues and is often misinterpreted herself. She can feel overwhelmed when she's amongst a lot of people. She doesn't like to participate in group discussions. Yeah. So my recommended strategies was just brain in hand, which was basically helping me to overcome anxiety in social situations, write my social script, that kind of thing. So yeah, so for social interaction, it was just brain in hand. And then we have travel and access to higher education. This was blank. This is where, like, if you had a physical disability and you couldn't maybe get the bus, this is where they'd maybe provide you travel allowance to get a taxi into uni or something like that. But I don't have anything like that. So this was just blank. I mean, it wasn't blank, but it just said, I have got accommodation near the university. If there's an issue, contact my advisor. That was it. And then we have additional information. So this additional information was basically just copy and pasted from the university website. So the university has a mental health service advisory. Here are some apps that will cure my anxiety. And that was it. That was basically the outline of the things that I got given, why I got given them. And then I got a summary. So here is a summary of everything I was recommended, and I was given everything I was recommended, so I will just read everything out. So we have, in my equipment allowance, we have a laptop, which was a 15-inch Windows laptop with a bag, a Canon Pixma wireless printer, Samsung Go mic, 3-year warranty, and then software, we have Claro Read Pro, Dragon Professional, Sonosent Audio Note Taker, Zotero, Grammarly, and iView. And then apps, we have Brain in Hand. Miscellaneous, we have EasyDesk and Magic Whiteboards, pens and eraser. Didn't get the pens and eraser though, so I'm looking at you, where are my pens? And then non-medical helper allowance, assistive technology training, and a specialist university mentor. Haven't used either of those. And then general allowance, printing consumables. So that's like my printer ink stuff. So then I have my whole thing is 30 pages. Like it's a chunky thing, but basically then you have a student summary. So, you know, it will say the following support has been recommended, Saskia has been told this, etc. And then they'll basically go through the costs. So there are multiple providers they can get things from. So they basically listed all the different providers they could get things from. My stuff I got from Sight and Sound. They were all quite friendly. I did have to phone them, which was a bit terrifying, but yeah. So yeah, then I have my summary of costs. So my specialist equipment, the gross cost was £2,403.81. My non-medical helper was £2,991.20. My general allowance was £870, so my total was £6,265 and 1 pence. And I paid nothing. If you haven't applied for disabled students allowance, you're never too late. I know people that applied literally like in January, like their course started in September, they applied in January. But I highly, highly recommend applying. If you have any questions about disabled students allowance, let me know. But this is basically everything you can get from disabled students allowance and why you would get things. Like I've seen a lot of misinformation basically saying that if you have mental health problems, you're not going to get much, but like all of this is just for mental health problems. I have nothing physical, no learning disabilities. So if you have mental health problems, you can literally get everything the same that I got. Like, and also when they send you your initial report, if you want anything added to it, you can just tell them, actually, I've read online about this, could we talk about that? So if you've watched this video and you've had your report and you've not kind of sent them that, yeah, this is good, if there's anything that you want, just let them know, like, I've seen that some students have been provided with this, would this be an option for me? Like, you can always kind of change what you get. You can also always get, like, reassessed. Like, if I felt something had changed or I needed new equipment, I could basically call up my supplier, I don't know who I'd call up, basically, and get reassessed for anything else I needed. Like, if I suddenly got a physical disability or something and I needed allowance to help me get to university, like a bus pass or something like that, they would help me do something like that. So, hopefully that wasn't too long a video, but hopefully it was helpful, because I do highly recommend disabled students allowance. It's definitely worth getting. It's definitely, like, it's a bit stressful, but if you ever applied for personal independence payment, it's so much nicer than that. You don't get bullied, you don't get invalidated, they're really friendly. Like, if you bring up anything that you're like, oh, I've not been told I've got this, but like I've got symptoms of this, they'll basically give you support for the thing that you've got symptoms of, even without the official diagnosis. Whereas like PIP are like, if it's not on paper, it doesn't exist. So they were really, really friendly. My assessor was really nice. All of my support people are really friendly. All of my equipment has been useful. Well, the equipment that I've used the most is laptop, printer, headphones, microphone, printer allowance, I think. I've used all of those. I'm very happy with those. Laptop's probably the best thing, then the printer. But yeah, I love my stuff. I love everything. I love disabled students allowance. Thank you, government, for looking after me. But yeah, that is everything. If that was helpful, you know, do let me know. If you have any questions, let me know. Yeah, I'll link the video in the cards. I think this is the cards. I'll link it in the cards, the one that I did before. But if this was helpful, let me know. And thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.